A deck of cards is probably the most complex object in the universe, right after the human brain, a computer, or the interior of my mother's purse. It's two things at once, singular and plural. One deck and at the same time 52 individual cards. Just like a swarm or a society. For the alt-right, the nation. Simultaneously homo and heterogeneous. I'm tempted to say multicultural. There are two groups, reds and blacks, four families, clubs, hearts, spades and diamonds. Some are kings and queens, others just a jackass. A few are really an ace at something. Most are just numbers in a game, but all together they are one. There's also nothing else that can take on as many forms of physical states. Sorted, shuffled, cut in half, one fan, two fans, scattered on the floor, or even every single card in a different part of the world, and yet it always remains one deck of cards. There are even whole magic tricks that only exist because cards exist.
Or do you know any other trick where, for example, the floating lady gets shuffled?
Playing cards, by the way, are a relatively new invention. I mean, the Chinese just came up with them in the 12th century. After that, it took 200 years for them to reach Europe and even longer to make it to America. Let's put it this way. Nowadays, the transfer of ideas goes a wee bit faster, at least in the opposite direction. The first time playing cards were officially mentioned in Europe was in a prohibition law in the Swiss town of Bern in 1367. By the way, the first and only time in history that the Swiss were the fastest with anything. The church always called playing cards the devil's prayer book, because people would lose everything through gambling, losing their soul to the devil. Ironically, gambling in German is called Glücksspiel, which means game of luck, which is a bit misleading in this context. In the church's opinion, card sharks and magicians are the priests of the devil. But seriously now, if playing cards were really the devil's prayer book, then the magician would be the one casting out the devil. I mean, when we take a deck of cards in our hands, it has nothing to do with luck. What a funny thought. By the way, many cards from medieval times have only survived because misprints were sometimes used for book covers. So if you find the King of Spades in your original edition of the Gutenberg Bible, the phrase "the devil's prayer book" gets a whole new meaning. Fun fact, by the way, the first mention of playing cards in Spain was in a rhyme dictionary in 1370. So that means playing cards and poetry have been connected from very early on. So here's a poem called Card Trick. Who gives your brain a hard kick, who makes a woman heart sick, who always is a smart prick, the guy who shows a coin trick.